Hello, my brogos and ogresses, and welcome back. If you're new here, we talk Shrek toys. As you can see, it's very green across your screen. And when we talk about Shrek toys, the ones that often come up are kind of the heavy hitters, if you would. The McFarlane Shrek action figures, probably one of the greatest cartoon action figure lines ever made, at least for its time. Beautifully detailed and sculpted. And then we have the Hasbro Shrek 2 figures. They were definitely a bit of a downgrade, but my nostalgia goggles kind of fog that up because I have such amazing memories of playing with these exact toys that the Hasbro Shrek 2 line is always just going to be a soft spot for me. And then the MGA Shrek toys, which honestly kind of continued the McFarlane tradition of giving us 6-inch detailed collector action figures. They were really nice toys. But the most forgotten toy line out of them all is definitely Playmates. The company that makes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Star Trek toys decided to take their stab at Shrek. And what they gave us was honestly a little disappointing, but I'm going to make the case today that these figures are underrated and they are still worth your while. So, Playmates got the Shrek license in 2010 for the final Shrek film, at least up until Shrek 5 releasing, but the last of the original Shrek series, Shrek Forever After, the one where Shrek is in an alternate world with all of the cool alternate designs. And yes, that would have been the best Shrek movie to get articulated 6-inch action figures, since they all done up in warrior garb like He-Man. But for whatever reason, Playmates gave us miniature figures, little tiny figurines, and I don't know if this was because of like maybe Squinkies. Anybody remember Squinkies? Like that was really popular for like a hot minute, or I don't know why they decided to go tiny, but they did. We did almost kind of get a 6-inch thing in the form of these weird mixed media figures. This is Shrek here, and he's got a plush body, but his feet are actually plastic as well as his hands and head. So he does stand like an action figure. Is this technically an action figure? It's 50% plastic. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because only Shrek and Donkey released. They actually canceled Puss in Boots and Gingerbread Man. There was a line of stylized figures that are, again, resembling action figures a bit more, but I believe only Shrek, Donkey, and Rumpelstiltskin came out. I think, again, Puss in Boots and Gingy were canceled. And then there was going to be some sort of slime thingy. I can never find much info on this, but there was going to be some sort of, like, Shrek factory playset where you interact with slime. Kind of looks like all those 90s toys where you like make the little bugs. Would have been interesting. Would have been like the centerpiece of the line from reading these press releases, and it was also canceled. So what the heck did Playmates actually release for Shrek Forever After? Well, it was these miniature figures, and this is not the whole line. I'm missing a few pieces. I don't have the disco ball seen in the climax of the movie when they all use their ogre shields to form that big ball to infiltrate Rumpelstiltskin's palace. Unfortunately, I don't have that item. Now, aside from that disco ball, I'm also missing 2 sets, Shrek and his family, which is exactly what it sounds like. You get Shrek, Fiona, and the triplets. And then I'm missing the Rumpelstiltskin set. And from what I can gather, this set also did not release, which is a real tragedy because I think it's actually the best looking set of the line and includes the coolest characters of Forever After. Rumpelstiltskin himself, who thankfully did get that one figure from Playmates, and the Pied Piper, who is yet to get an action figure, which is such a shame. And Rumpelstiltskin set is like a mystery. Did it release? Did it not release? The world may never know. So I'm not really making a good case for these figures being good, but they're actually quite nice, I swear. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip the camera around so we can get up close with these miniature figures and look at some of the details on them because I think the sculpts are quite wonderful. But first, let's get the elephant out of the room. What are these strange bases they're all on? The figures don't actually come on stands. They are quite notorious for falling over. And I looked online forever for a set of these figures, and the only ones I could find were from someone who had customized them into a set of hero clicks, which are like this tabletop game of superheroes. with little stats. You kind of play it in comic book shops. Very popular in the 2000s. I believe it is still played today. It's got a big cult following. And I thought this was neat because it would be great to display these figures without them falling over. And we still have a nice selection of characters. You have Shrek and all of his fairy tale friends. You've got Dragon and all of the donkeys there. And these figures are tiny. They're really tiny. And just to demonstrate how tiny they are, I want you to take a look here at Ogress Fiona compared with her McDonald's counterpart. Yeah, these figures are barely half an inch tall. And I think that is like the line's biggest problem is the value proposition, because the big Fiona, the one on the right, was given away for free with a Happy Meal. Around the same time, the one on the left, the tiny one here, was like $9.99 at Toys R Us. And I believe these were only sold at Toys R Us. And keep in mind, Toys R Us was always a little more expensive than your Walmarts and your Targets. So I can see why these didn't sell, and they are a rarity today. But they're really nice. So let's start off with the donkeys here. Now, the person that customized them actually made them flying and hovering, which I think is really cute. And this is a really nice sculpt. You have all the donkeys sculpted together. And I love their little eyeballs. Like, it looks rough when you see them up close, but in person, this is a really impressive figurine. Can you name all the donkeys, by the way? How much of a Shrek super fan are you? I can name this without even looking. It's Peanut, Parfait, Bananas, and Debbie. And there you go. And they're all named after food items. Even Debbie, named after Little Debbie. Okay, here is Dragon. Dragon's one of the more disappointing figures because her color is not quite bright red as it should be, and she's missing her cool disco ball she wears in the movie. So the McDonald's toy here got us a more unique version of Dragon with the disco ball. And this figure was actually exclusive to, I believe, Mexico, New Zealand, and parts of the UK. It wasn't released in the United States, so I didn't even know this figure existed as a kid. Neither did I know about these ones because, like I said, they're very obscure and they barely had a shelf life. Now, moving on, we have Puss in Boots, or Fat Puss in Boots. And this figure, I want you to look really closely here because you can see they actually sculpted his boots breaking at the seams. Look at that, because of how fat he is. Such a small detail that you can barely even notice. Like, these figures are minuscule in nature, and they totally got great details down. Look at Shrek with his gauntlets, and like, you can see they even got the patterning of Shrek's outfit. The alligator texture on his tunic. Like, the detail of the McFarlane figures and the MGA figures is actually there in these little figures. They're just so small that they go unnoticed. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what Playmates could have done with a proper scaled action figure line. It possibly could have been amazing. I think Ogress Fiona's the most impressive out of these because she's got so much going on. Look at all the little metal straps, all the detail in the lips and the eyes. Like, I honestly think the likeness on that Ogress Fiona, as tiny as she is, little angry Ogress Fiona, looks literally better than some of the larger Fiona figures. Like, it's crazy how good this figure looks. Although these are miniatures, these were sold as the main figures. And that's really what separates these in my eyes from, like, the Hasbro smaller figures, is those had a main figure line to go with them. But in this case, this was the main figure line. For all intents and purposes, this is the action figure line for Shrek Forever After. So, yeah. Donkey here looks great because they actually gave us Mangy Donkey. He's all angry, and his fur is all messed up. And I just love seeing these unique versions of the characters. If a modern company got the Shrek license, this would be such an interesting way to get variants of all of our main characters. We have Pinocchio. This is another one where the paint is just really impressive. Look at that. That's crazy. I don't quite know what he's holding, though. I can't figure it out. It looks like a branch or a club. A lot of the Forever After merchandise, like, they really went hard with the fairy tale friends. Like, the three little pigs here, they're also all angry. And the big bad wolf. This is probably the worst sculpt. It looks so generic and so bad. It looks nothing like the wolf in the movie. But this is all mainly from a deleted scene where Shrek would have been attacked by all of the fairy tale friends. It was a big action scene in the introduction to the alternate Far, Far Away. So I see why toy companies went crazy with these characters, because this is an exciting action scene to recreate. It's just unfortunate that it's not in the movie. Thankfully, it was included on the DVD, though, so we do have access to this great scene. Oh, I didn't even highlight the best one, Gingy as a gladiator. Look at that figure. It's so freaking awesome. I love it. Okay, the final set we have here are the other ogres. We have Shrek and Fiona, and then we also have Shrek in his battle armor, and then we also get the other ogres. So we have a generic ogre trooper, and God, look at this ugly figure. It's friggin' hideous, but I think it's great because it's almost like a skinny ogre guy. And we have never seen what a malnourished ogre would look like. But a skinny ogre is believable in Rumpelstiltskin's Far, Far Away, because they would not have access to food easily, because they are exiled and hunted down by Rumpelstiltskin and his witches. Now, who isn't malnourished is Cookie, probably the most underrated Shrek character ever. I love Cookie, and I love Craig Robinson's performance in the movie. It is one of the highlights. And here he is in figure form. I believe this is the only figure we ever got of Cookie. That alone makes this line great, because I'm just so happy to have something of this character. He just needs his little chimichanga stand to go with it, right? These almost look like the little miniatures when Cookie is planning the final battle. Or when I should say Brogan. Brogan's planning the final battle. And Cookie puts his little miniature chimichanga stand there. And speaking of Brogan, here he is. Here is John Hamm as Brogan. Another one that we did not get a lot of merchandise of. There was a figure from McDonald's, but I don't have it. It's quite difficult to get. But in the miniature line, we got Brogan. And yeah, he towers over Shrek. He's kind of got more of a manly build. Big chin, big shoulders. He looks like every buff guy in a 90s cartoon. Originally, there was going to be a love triangle between Brogan, Fiona, and Shrek, which would have been interesting. And it would have been revealed that Brogan was actually Prince Charming, who had a ogre course similar to Fiona. That would have been a really interesting twist, but I understand why it was cut. There's just so much story to tell in Forever After. You have to introduce all of Far, Far Away again. So I get why it was cut for time. But as it is, this is our Forever After toy line. Gives us kind of a look into the cool alternate world of Far, Far Away. So I just want to look at these figures one more time. Just kind of pan across here so you can see the amazing detail that went into these figures. I think someone at Playmates really gave this their all. Yes, they're not articulated action figures. They're just little miniatures. But given the limitations, they really just knocked it out of the park. These could have been little chintzy, cheap, unpainted figures, and they probably could have gotten away with it. Stores were ordering anything that said Shrek at this point. Shrek hadn't quite disappeared out of the public eye yet. And this was where the Shrek toy line left off. This is when Shrek forever left the toy aisle. Shrek Forever After forever left the toy aisle. And although we do get collector figures, like vinyl figures and stuff like that, this is the last time we had a play line of Shrek figures. And, I will just say there is a 99.999% chance that the new movie is going to go all out with toys. It's going to be a huge toy line, and it will be really interesting to compare the two. So, there you go. There are the Shrek miniature figures. So there you have it, Playmates' very small venture into the alternate world of Far, Far Away. Shrek Forever After is a really interesting and underrated movie, and it only makes sense that it gives us a really interesting and underrated toy line. Thankfully, we live in the good timeline where Shrek is coming back, and with a new movie on the horizon and new toys, I would love to see a new toy company take a shot at Shrek Forever After's designs, because I think they're cool and really interesting. Although, please, don't make them miniature, just give us proper scaled action figures. I feel like the whole minis trend is kind of on the way out anyways. Yeah, we have mini brands, but Squinkies are gone. Micro Machines is mostly just cars now. You don't really see figures. But until that happens, we'll just, stuck looking at the Shrek toys we do have. So Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Playmates Forever After toys? Are they underrated, or were they always destined for failure? I think they've got good sculpts, but if they were bigger, we would be talking about them all day. You know, as Rumpelstiltskin says, magic always comes with a price. Wait a second. Rumpelstiltskin didn't say that in Shrek Forever After. He said that in Once Upon a Time, the Disney live-action show that does have some weird Shrek vibes. What was with people's obsession with this character at the time? Okay, have a happily ever after. Unless you signed a contract with Rumpelstiltskin. And trust me, it's not the deal of a lifetime. You will not be getting a happily ever after.